Welcome everyone, welcome one and all. Greetings, Mike here with Sci-Fi and more, and welcome back to the channel. And if you're new here, welcome to our Team Sci-Fi family, where nostalgic positivity reigns supreme. Assignment Earth, one of the classic Star Trek original series episodes, follows the character of Class 1 Supervisor 194, Gary 7. And we get introduced to this handy-dandy little multi-tool he has called the Servo. But before we begin, I would like to give a special thanks to one of our longtime subscribers and friend of the channel and frequent contributor at Serpent Knight for this fantastic suggestion. So, let's slingshot around the sun to get to 1968 Earth for historical research and find out about the Servo tool. Assignment Earth is the 55th episode of Star Trek the Original Series, concluding the show's second season. It aired on March 29, 1968, and was written by Gene Roddenberry and Art Wallace, with direction by Mark Daniels. The episode was also novelized in Star Trek III by James Blish. Initially conceived as a pilot for a proposed series, it features Gary 7, or Supervisor 194, a human sent from a distant civilization on a mission to Earth in 1968. The original pilot script for this potential series was written by Gene Roddenberry on November 14, 1966, and it features Gary 7, who is sent to Earth by benevolent aliens to guide humanity. He is unique for surviving time travel to the 20th century, with a mission to defeat the Omegans, a shape-shifting alien race that travel back in time to sabotage Earth's space program during the late 20th century, aiming to alter history and ensure their dominance over Earth and humanity in this new future. In the original script set in the 1960s, Gary 7 and his assistant Roberta Lincoln face off against two Omegan agents named Hearth and Isis. Now, originally, Roberta Lincoln's last name wasn't Lincoln. In the original script, her last name was Hornblower, inspired by Gene Roddenberry's fondness for the Horatio Hornblower novels. And Gary 7's cover identity on Earth was that of a private investigator running the 7 Agency. That pilot was later reworked to become the episode Assignment Earth, where 7 is now a human raised on a distant planet. Honestly, I think if we had gotten that show, it would have been a lot of fun. The strength of the episode Assignment Earth really showcased the ability of Robert Lansing, who, in his own right, was a fantastic actor, but showed us that a Star Trek episode could be carried by a character that was outside the main cast, and, in my opinion, Kirk and Spock played a more supportive role to Lansing as Gary 7. But just because we did not get an Assignment Earth Star Trek spin-off, that doesn't mean that Gene Roddenberry was finished with this idea. The plot concept for the episode of benevolent aliens secretly guiding Earthlings would be reused by Gene Roddenberry in his TV movie backdoor pilot, The Quester Tapes from 1974. The premise for The Quester Tapes is that an unknown alien civilization has had highly sophisticated human-looking androids on Earth for centuries, as one android replaces another. Gary 7, while human, possesses a unique non-human trait in that he is immune to the Vulcan neck pinch. That is a rarity among humans and humanoids across the Star Trek universe. Also, Gary 7 uses a versatile device called a servo, which serves multiple functions, including acting as a communications tool, a remote control for his transporter, and a weapon with both stun and kill settings, and with enough precision can manipulate technology from a distance. The Servo tool used by Gary Seven was designed by the show's art and prop department by the skilled team working under the supervision of people like Matt Jeffries, the art director and designer for many of the series' props and sets. It was designed just to look like a typical pen. The difference here was the pen had a collar ring on the midsection of the servo, which Gary Seven could twist to set the device into its required mode. When the servo was activated, a pair of hidden prongs located near the top of the device extended, and a sparkle of blue energy appeared between them. Now, that device to me, when I hear that just reminds me of some good old-fashioned 1960s spy movie gadgetry. I love it. Now, the servo tool used by the supervisors is a multifunctional device with several purposes, but it is also a mechanical manipulation device with the ability to serve simple purposes, such as unscrewing screws and locking and unlocking doors. And to go even further into its functionality, the servo was reintroduced in Season 2 of Star Trek II Picard, when, in 2024, Talon, a Romulan supervisor, used her servo to scan the memories of a comatose Jean-Luc Picard's brain. It's unfortunate that we never got the Gary Seven spin-off series to see what additional features the servo had in store for us. But the servo was not unique and functioned very similarly to another tool used on another time travel sci-fi adventure, which gave me some insight into what we may have potentially seen from the servo tool. And for that, we need to look no further than Doctor Who and the sonic screwdriver. In both Star Trek and in Doctor Who, Gary Seven's servo and the Doctor's sonic screwdriver are versatile, multifunctional tools. These devices are designed for various technical and manipulation purposes, showcasing the advanced technology and inventive capabilities of their users. While both tools prioritize problem solving over combat, emphasizing non-violent solutions, the servo has a kill setting, unlike the sonic screwdriver, which does not. Although Gary Seven's servo appeared in only one Star Trek episode, it made a significant impression, similar to how the sonic screwdriver became an iconic element of Doctor Who. These shared characteristics underline themes of ingenuity and intellect prevalent in both shows, as the protagonists often rely on their wits and their tools rather than pure force. The Doctors, throughout many of their lives, possessed the sonic screwdriver. They ostensibly upgraded and improved each subsequent model, improving functionality and adding additional features while the design changed. Features including projecting sound waves to lock and unlock doors, frying circuitry, hacking, disabling and activating technology. It could also be used as a scanning device for medical applications. And, believe it or not, the sonic screwdriver could be used as a conventional screwdriver that could be magnetized to remove bolts. The sonic screwdriver is an iconic symbol of Doctor Who and deeply embedded in the cultural tapestry of the series, representing the ingenuity and resourcefulness that define the Doctor's character. Now, there have been those that say, and I actually enjoy this quite a lot, that there is a lot of reference between going back and forth between Star Trek and Doctor Who. In the case of the servo and the sonic screwdriver, however, I don't think that these are references or influences going either way. Meaning, I don't think that one inspired the other. I think these may be more coincidental than anything else. And what I mean by that is Americans would not see Doctor Who until the 1970s, and England would not get Star Trek until 1969. So, the parallels between the Servo and the sonic screwdriver could just be by chance. And most of the elements of Doctor Who that are similar to Assignment Earth didn't get added to the show until well after Assignment Earth. And the sonic screwdriver itself had just appeared in Doctor Who just 13 days before Assignment Earth aired. And at that time, it was just a screwdriver that could work without touching the screw. It would be years before it became the same kind of multifunctional tool as Gary Seven's Servo. Another funny story that came out of the episode Assignment Earth surrounding Robert Lansing was guest star Robert Lansing happened to be playing with his servo mechanism between takes, and prop master Irving Feinberg walked up behind Lansing and said, "Don't play with that." He then took the servo from startled Robert Lansing, and Lansing said, "Can he do that?" The cast and crew assured Lansing that, indeed, Irving had the authority since he was in charge of protecting the valuable props from any damage. The lesson here? Don't mess with Irving Feinberg. While we only got one episode featuring Gary Seven and the servo tool, that would not be the last we would hear of him. In Greg Cox's The Eugenics Wars novels, Gary Seven had numerous dealings with Khan Noonien Singh, and initially hoped to train Khan as his successor. Along with his now partner Roberta Lincoln, Seven tries to prevent World War III in a variety of ways and eventually leaves Earth in 1996 after sending Khan on a DY-100 class sleeper ship, the SS Botany Bay. I think we all know what happened after that.
I shall leave you as you left me, as you left her, marooned for all eternity in the center of a dead planet. Buried alive, buried alive. Come! Come!
Classic. Cox also wrote a 1997 novel, Assignment Eternity, featuring Gary Seven. In this novel, the alien agency which Seven works for is called the Aegis, though whether it refers to the organization or the alien species in charge of the organization is rather unclear. Additionally, Seven is mentioned but not seen in the Star Trek Department of Temporal Investigation's Watching the Clock novels, as well as a 2017 novel, Star Trek The Next Generation, Hearts and Mind. And in 2008, IDW Publishing launched an Assignment Earth 5-issue comic book series written and drawn by John Byrne. The stories show the characters' lives from 1968 up to 1974, including Seven and Roberta's peripheral involvement in the events of a prior Star Trek episode, Tomorrow is Yesterday, which was prior for the Enterprise crew, but after the events of Assignment Earth for Gary Seven and Roberta Lincoln in the main timeline. The 19th episode of Star Trek's first season saw the USS Enterprise being sent back in time to Earth during the 1960s due to the effects of a high-gravity black star. The Enterprise appears in Earth's upper atmosphere and is detected and labeled as a UFO by a U.S. Air Force F-104 interceptor piloted by Captain John Christopher. Fearing that the fighter might be carrying nuclear weapons, Captain Kirk orders a tractor beam to be used on the jet, which causes the jet to break apart. To save the life of the pilot, they beam Christopher aboard the Enterprise. Fearing Christopher could disrupt the timeline if not returned to Earth, Kirk at first decides that the pilot must stay with the Enterprise. However, Spock later discovers that the pilot's yet unborn son will play an important role in a future mission to Saturn. Kirk realizes he must return Christopher to Earth after all. Now, as a retired military person myself, I thoroughly enjoy the original episodes where they feature the modern day military, or more to the point, the modern day military of the 1960s. So, with that said, we have an episode of Tomorrow is Yesterday coming up for you on this channel, so stay tuned for that one. At the end of the comics run, an epilogue set in the 2008 IDW series depicts an annual reunion between Roberta and Isis the cat, but in her humanoid form, at the Vietnam Veterans Memorial to honor a friend who had been killed in that conflict. And as long as we're talking about Isis, the feline companion to Gary 7 in Assignment Earth, who transforms briefly into a humanoid woman long enough for Roberta Lincoln to see her. The uncredited human form of Isis was portrayed by actress, dancer, and cartoonist April Tatro. Her identity was unknown until 2019, when the Trek Files podcast cited a production call sheet for extras dated January 5th, 1968. Host Larry Lemekic interviewed her for confirmation. Nicely done, Trek Files podcast. That's some quality work there. Previously, fans, myself included, had speculated that the briefly seen human form of Isis the cat was portrayed by actress Victoria Vetri. This had been repeated so often that many articles and websites treat it as fact. However, Vetri herself confirmed that she was not in the episode. And there you have it, Cosmic Core. We hope you have enjoyed our retrospective on Gary 7 and his Servo tool. And if you did, please be sure to hit like and share the video and subscribe to the channel, and let's continue our sci-fi journey together as a team. There were so many possibilities that the Servo tool could have brought to Star Trek with Gary 7 wielding it. When I did the comparison with the sonic screwdriver from Doctor Who, I was looking to see how many potential servo settings there could be. Now, as I was doing my research for the sonic screwdriver, the highest setting I found was 156. And just to be fair, I don't really follow Doctor Who. I like it, I've watched it, I just don't follow it. So, if there are more than 156 settings, which I'm sure there are way more than 156, please be sure to let us know what the highest setting is that you know. Be sure to drop it down in the comments. I'm sure everyone would love to read it. And until next time, everyone, have a great galactic day.